I think there's a saying in Baja which is always really fun. Maybe you've seen it on the bumper stickers as you're driving by, but it's usually a palm tree that says "No bad days," and that's just kind of like the mantra or motto of Baja. Avid fisherman, I think Baja offers some of the most diverse fishing in the world. You can go 2 miles offshore from Marlin, you can catch 100-pound tuna, you can catch bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, blue marlin, striped marlin, spearfish, yellowtail, snappers, the list goes on. And you have a 1,000-mile peninsula and you can fish either side of it, and the fishing all the time is amazing. My first memory as a human is my dad taking me on his boat, and I caught a fish and he didn't. And I was probably the cockiest 3.5-year-old in the world. And to this day, people, what's your first memory when you blah blah blah? That's my first memory. I caught a kelp bass in Ventura when I was just a kid in the kelp beds in my dad's boat. It was just me and him, and it's my first memory. I think I liked it a lot. I grew up in young in the Ventura Keys, and I would get off school and I'd go, and I was lucky enough that my dad had a dock, and I would go down and I would fish off the dock every day after school, or I'd go run on the rocks and go dive and try and catch fish. And when I was old enough to spearfish, when I was old enough to kind of, I don't know, tie knots, I guess, my dad let me be a deckhand in his tournaments. But by the time he sold the boat, I wasn't old enough to realize how lucky and fortunate I was. My wife might kill me for saying this, but I would say 99.9 of every trip or vacation that we get to take, it revolves around fishing, and I think she wishes it didn't sometimes, but I don't know, fishing is a passion, fishing is an addiction. My dad, my joke is that he passed down like the most expensive hobby in the world.
They're on again. Otro. Hey.
¿Estos buenos para comer?
No, I can't pull anymore.
Hey, good job. It took you 30 minutes with that tiny fish. Lava's very, very. Josh Neville, this one's for you.
You want to knock it out?
Yeah, but not with that there.
Take him in.
No! See what I did? A little bit bigger than your bonita. Woo! I love this town. My wife and I got married in this town. The fishing's dynamite. If I could make my living down here, I probably would have chosen here over Ensenada, but I'm glad I'm where I am. The fact that I get to show people like one tiny glimpse of what a small fishing town in Baja is worth the whole point of this trip. I have a Talica 16 and an Okuma 30 wide and 50 wide, so I'd love to get a rod that matches my wide and get the Talica. It doesn't have the same color string.
I've been doing this since the mid-'70s, and I've built probably somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 fishing rods, all of them by hand, turning every one of them by hand. And to me, it's an addiction and a passion. I just love it, especially this part down here where you have different designs, and all of this is made with thread. It's unlimited. What only limitation you have is your own creativity. I'm not a rod builder. I make art you can fish with.
Up to 40, we lost 4, and then caught a Dorado.
Cosmo had his wife down here, Julia, one time, and they were looking at a rod I had up at the tackle store. I have a display up there of custom rods, and they had some questions about the rod, so Cindy at the tackle store called me to see if I'd come up and talk to them, and I did. They ended up buying the fishing rod, and I guess Julia liked it.
Yes.
He's a nice guy, and he buys fishing rods. I'm nice to anybody that buys fishing rods.
We're shedding a little bit of light on this area and the people that grew up here and the people that live here full time and fish full time and what they do and what that means. And it's still a tiny community and it has that feel. I think that talking with everybody about fishing in Key West or fishing in Miami or fishing out of Destin, it's like these crazy cities with this crazy young party life where there's a much more like relaxed. You get done fishing, you drink a couple Pacificos, you have a little bit of tequila, you have seafood for dinner, and you go to bed. You know, there's not much. In my opinion, there's not many better days in the world than that. Maybe if my wife was here fishing with me, but other than that, I don't think a trip down here can be beat.
Down here since 2011, and then racing the Baja 1000 since 14, and just fell in love with the peninsula. I mean, all the way down. I've driven up and down this peninsula God knows how many times. Little tiny places, you know, for pits and, you know, pre-running and stuff like that, and you really fall in love with it. The people are just awesome people, very friendly, very giving. If you're broken down on the side of the road, they'll do anything to help you. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Cosmo. You know, you can kind of count friends on one hand. I'd put him as one. He can whoop up some stuff. I mean, even just with bare ingredients, like Coca-Cola and shit. What was that? I mean, it was just awesome food. Awesome food. I mean, I like to cook and stuff, and I have my way of doing sashimi and so on, but man, the guy is awesome. I want some of this stuff. This is the bomb right here. This stuff is the bomb.
My parents owned a restaurant in Santa Barbara, California, and my dad was an art dealer, dealing California art, and had 3 galleries and wanted me to wash dishes in the restaurant to learn to not be a 13-year-old jerk and learn some work ethic. And I started washing dishes, and I became a prep cook, started cooking, and then my dad sat me down and was like, choose any other profession in the world besides this. I'll help you with 2 years of college, and pick anything else. And I said, you know, I'm 17, I'm smarter than you. and I started cooking. I went to culinary school in Colorado, moved to New York, got an opportunity to move to Baja, and I said, "You said Baja, right?" And I said, "Yep." And I said, "I'm done. It's a risk, and it's different, and it's a different country, and a different area, and a different world." And man, we jumped right in.
The other night, I made tuna burgers for that lodge. We take all the chain, all the trimmings, grind it through, balls, sear it, still keep it rare with like wasabi, mayonnaise, teriyaki, chilies, and cucumber. like everyone's freaking out about it.
Cooking is, well, my joke that I always tell people is that I'm not good at anything else, so that was the only option. I like to think I'm okay at cooking, but I love it. I think that there's a lot of mediums in life where you have to wait to see how people react to something. Food, you know immediately whether what you did was good, or what you did was right, or what you did was a failure.
I mean, he's with food in his hands. He's great. I mean, I gave me a rough idea what I wanted, and 2 days later he came up with the whole menu, and then he started cooking. I didn't know how he cooked. I had just references, but then he started cooking. I was like, wow, he can just grab a piece of fish or meat or vegetables and just turn them into really good meal.
I think people love my creativity, and that's the first draw, is the creativity. Like, oh, he cooks interesting, creative food. That's not what you see every day. I think that people stick around and stay because of the financial acumen side. I'm equally as fascinated with the financial side of it than as the creative side.
He knows how to run a restaurant. That's basically, I mean, it's either you know or you don't.
Right.
That's it's a lot of people that open restaurants and they go way out of business very soon, very fast. And I don't think that will ever happen to Cosmo.
When you bring up the water to plate side, the fishing side, I've always treated it, if you catch it the right way, you don't buy gillnet fish, you don't buy dragged fish, you don't buy farm-raised fish that isn't sustainable. That goes into catching the fish. Catch it right, bleed it right, gut it right, cool it right, cook it right. The fish is going to taste better. And the tournament's electric. I mean, you go out fishing and you want to, you and your friends, you want to catch the biggest fish, right? Well, now you get to try and catch the biggest fish against 150 other teams, and there's $180,000 in the line. What? That shotgun start is like electric, it's fun. And your odds are 1 in 150, and your odds are not, you don't have to be the richest, you don't have to be the best fisherman. There's a lot of luck tomorrow, there's a lot of humility tomorrow. Like, you have pongs that are rented for $3,000 a day, or $300 a day, and you have $8 million boats in the same tournament fishing the same grounds for the same fish, and either one could win. I think if I fish this tournament until I die, I will never be ready for the Dorado tournament tomorrow. But damn right, I'm ready to win. Team Bubba's taking home the W.
Oh shit, yeah, dude. Oh, nice.
For the why is that my wife and I have always talked about retiring here in Los Barriles. And when people say, why'd you move to Mexico? I say, well, I was going to move here when I was 65. I got an opportunity to do it when I was 30. Why not do it 30 years earlier? I love sharing the Baja with people. I don't know, actually more trying to get my friends to fish with me, but because my wife's like, please God, someone go with him. But I get to make a awesome living in Ensenada, and spend more time with my wife and fish more, and who knows if it'll be till I'm 65, but I know I'll end up back here if I leave. But man, I'm enjoying it now for sure.